Chers auditeurs,
Dear listeners,
bonjour.
welcome in Comme d'Archi Podcast Season 4
Saison 4, dans le monde fascinant des architectes.
and in the architectural projects.
Je suis Anne-Charlotte Deponte, passionnée d'architecture et docteur des universités en histoire de l'archi.
I am one of the spokespersons of Anne-Charlotte, who is a PhD in architecture history.
Merci
Thank you
d'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
to be with us today.
Et
And
maintenant,
now,
lundi en français, place au talent.
and Wednesday, let's talk projects. In English, of course.
Bienvenue dans Comme d'Archi.
Chers auditeurs,
Dear listeners, it's a pleasure to meet you today with Jeff Kovel of Skylab.
Bonjour Jeff.
Hello Jeff and welcome to Comme d'Archi.
Vous êtes le fondateur
You are
de
the founder of the American architectural firm Skylab.
basé à Portland.
Your office is based in Portland, Oregon, USA.
Merci de votre présence.
Thank you very much for your presence for this remote interview in Comme d'Archi.
Comme d'Archi.
You are the architect of the massive Serena Williams Nike World HQ, for example, but also much more intimate projects and projects in timber. We will come back to that. First, why the name of Skylab?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you. Skylab was founded in a house overlooking the city of Portland, and the city of Portland is known for its dramatic weather. So we had a studio that had a very long, almost Bauhaus-style window overlooking the city, and we used to watch storms kind of roll through the city, and it was quite inspiring. And we found that being up where you could sort of see the weather versus being underneath the weather was also a great vantage point. And so we were looking for a name, and we actually had an event and had a naming contest at the event, and somebody had written that one down the board, and all the folks in the room really responded to it, not only because of the sort of vantage point that we had, but also because of its sort of optimistic blue sky thinking references, sort of futuristic kind of references, and also, you know, what we like to refer to as a bit of sarcasm, because the Skylab actually crashed and burned and dropped into Earth out of orbit. So it's an optimistic lookout, but with a hint of irony.
Intéressant. Alors, commençons par le début.
Let's start at the beginning. What is your background? How was your childhood? Where did your desire for architecture take roots? What did you study? When and how did you start your activity?
Avez-vous commencé votre activité d'architecte?
Great. So that's a lot of questions. I grew up in Rye, New York, which is a town about 45 minutes north of Manhattan on the east coast of the United States. And when I was about 7 years old, I was really fortunate to be a part of the design and construction of a custom residence for my family. My parents hired a young architect at the time named Steve Haas, and he was quite progressive. This was like 1980 or 1982, something like that. And he designed really a brilliant home. And I was spending time, in the meetings with my parents, looking at the model that he made. And then fortunately on site, once a week I would go and walk around the construction site with my parents. And I was just completely taken by the contractors and the tools. And, for a sort of Lego obsessed, young adult, like seeing it all go into full scale was really quite powerful. So really, at that moment, I was not that I was thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, but I was very, very much enraptured by construction and design. And then I grew up in a house that really was the sort of next level from an architectural point of view. It was a piece of architecture that really helped you kind of interpret the place and the way that the daylight moved through the building, and the rooms were oriented to the views, and just the living style and plan. It was just really impactful. And so I think I really got to experience the power that architecture can have on your life when it's done well. And so, I was one of those people that really knew what I wanted to do from a really young age and set out on sort of as fast a course as possible to achieve that goal.
Retrouvez l'intégralité de cet épisode sur Apple Podcast, Acast, Deezer, Spotify.